Hey everybody, welcome back to Stars of Hope TV. I'm Kelly Burns, Program Manager and Art Therapist with Stars of Hope. Today our special guest is Julie Krause, Clinical Therapist and Art Therapist. Julie, I invited you today, especially because you have a very special background working with refugees, and this past Saturday was World Refugee Day. And I thought it was very important that we just share a discussion about working with refugees and what it's like working with refugees, and just getting more information about it and what we can, I don't know, learn from it and talk more about it. So, but first, would you just share more about like your history with working with refugees and what you're doing currently?
Sure. So thanks again for having me. I'm actually pretty excited to be able to have this discussion with you today. And yeah, Saturday was World Refugee Day. It's always usually when you're in camp, it's definitely a big celebration. There's dancing, and it just depends on where you're at. So my background, like you had said, I'm a clinical therapist and art therapist. And I started working with resettled refugees doing volunteer work when I was before grad school, actually. And didn't plan on working with refugees at all. But when I graduated, like I had told you before, I wasn't looking for jobs in the U.S. at all. I was looking internationally, just because of my background and work experience and feeling comfortable doing that. And so pretty quickly, I joined on and was in East Africa in Kakuma, which is one of the world's largest refugee camps. Right now, I think there's about 200,000 refugees there, and predominantly from South Sudan, but also from Burundi, DRC, just that whole region. So yeah, I was working there for a few years with several different organizations, and then went up to Ethiopia with another organization, a US-based organization called the Center for Victims of Torture. They specifically focus on mental health, working with survivors of torture. So we were working with Eritrean refugees in the northern part of Ethiopia. And they've since expanded. They're also in the southwest. I had to think about that for a second. Part of the country, working with a lot of South Sudanese refugees as well, who kind of traveled over that way. And then I went back to Kenya, opened up a program for them in a new settlement outside of Kakuma, which is Calabay. And let's see, I came back here to Tucson, where I am right now. I was here for a year working in the private sector as a trauma therapist, but mostly using my art therapy background. And then went over to East Ukraine. Was working there not with refugees, a lot of internally displaced people, as well as just leading mental health programming for the organization I was with there. And now I am working for an organization called Israeli Refugee, and they're based out of Oslo, Norway. That's their headquarters. However, they're in over 20 countries, 24 or 28 throughout the world, doing all different kinds of work, development as well as humanitarian. That was a mouthful.
Very extensive. You and I had a great conversation yesterday. I think we touched on just like bringing, what's it like to bring, your training here in the States over to different countries, the Western training for mental health and bringing it to somewhere that's probably very different. What was your experience like working with that?
Well, that's the biggest learning experience I've had so far, and I continue to learn. I think, and kind of what we had talked about yesterday, the biggest thing for me is really being mindful and being open and being curious, which we're trained in as we go through grad school training, because there's a lot of cultural understanding that people have that I will never have working with refugees, just because I'm not from that community. So bringing the background knowledge and experience that I have and allowing people to be able to either shift that into something that makes sense for their context. Also, there are some, like if you're looking at World Health Organization, we have some global practices through the International Standing Committee UNHCR, which is bringing that trains people in the health field, so doctors, nurses, to be able to recognize some very basic mental health challenges and issues that come up, so then they can better work with individuals in that way. So there's a lot of different global approaches, like MHGAP that I said, problem management, self-help plus, where we're able to allow it to be contextualized within that setting, and then people can really use it to fit what works for them.
What are those mental health issues you just touched on?
So I'm trying to remember the exact 10. Ooh, this is a quiz. So it's just ones that they identified as more broad-reaching, particularly within these types of settings. So if you're looking at depression, just more of the lighter ones, not really anything that as clinical therapists we would have to work with a team with psychiatrists and things like that. They do touch on several things like that, and then it talks about referrals, and being able to refer out to psychiatrists and other trained professionals.
Okay, yeah. I would like anxiety, I would imagine comes up.
Yeah.
Okay, like big umbrella, I would diagnoses, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. I guess I would want to backtrack a little bit because there's refugees, and then I think you mentioned like internally displaced people that are internally displaced. Like, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
Yes. Okay. And you have to understand my experience in the work that I've done has been particularly within East Africa context as well as East Ukraine, right? So there's so many different issues and situations all across the world that have brought a lot of people to end up becoming refugees that aren't within that same kind of context, right? So you're looking at Syria, now you're looking at Central and South America, all of the issues there. So people that are seeking asylum, right? So refugees are individuals that have been persecuted, right? Whether that be for religious reasons, sexual orientation, just a variety of reasons. And so they go to seek refuge, right? In another nearby country. And then internally displaced people are people from that country, right? That area. For whatever reason, they aren't able to be back in their setting where home is for them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. I think we have like a good chart that just kind of shows very clearly like what's going on globally that you shared with me, which was very eye-opening to me, and I thought was important to share with as many people as possible, because the numbers were very much more astounding than I thought. Almost hard to, yeah.
So that's from UNHCR. So that's the UN branch of the UN High Commissioner of Refugees, right? So they are the ones who are generally in charge, and so they have a lot of these facts and figures. So it's nearly 71 million individuals who are refugees, right? And then if you look down at the breakout of the numbers, it's really hard to hear and think about. Like, this is definitely, like you and I were talking about, this is not a light topic at all. Just considering the fact that nearly 71 million people aren't able to be in their home and where they're from.
Yeah. Wow. Julie, are there any like personal experiences you think would be important to share with our viewers that you've had, because you've worked intimately, very closely with many different refugees, you think would be helpful for us to hear about?
Sure. Well, and to kind of sidestep really quick, and then I'll get to that. Kind of to talk about what I was talking about a little bit earlier. The biggest thing too in the work that I do and my main focus now, I'm with an organization and I'm at head office, so I'm an advisor. I'm making changes
Mm-hmm.
within the organization. But before, I was definitely in the field working with people directly, whether that be national staff, so people in Kenya, it would be Kenyans that were working with me, or if there were refugee staff that were working with us. That happened a lot in CBT particularly. We had an amazing team in Ethiopia of refugee counselors. And they might not be called counselors or therapists, they might be psychosocial counselors, something that identifies that they don't have that background in training.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely got a lot of training with us, and they did some amazing and continue to do really amazing work. And that being said, the biggest thing for me is identifying that I don't think it's important for me to always be in these places, being an outsider providing this work, but rather building the capacity and helping bring in whatever that I can to
Yeah.
the work that's being done, and then slowly be able to erase myself. So that the people within that area, within that region, are able to continue doing that work without having anyone from the outside that's there working full time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so. It sounds like, well, your role is not to be, you're empowering others.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not helpful to be that crutch. It's because once you leave, if you leave and nothing changes, then what was
Then nothing changes.
Harming more than helping, and that's not.
Exactly.
It's in a lot of ways unethical, I would suppose. So
it's incredibly unethical, and I think that's something to be mindful, not only as therapists and people with that therapeutic background, but also in the humanitarian sector.
mm-hmm.
Harm is very important as well. And so being able to build that capacity of the people, empower them to be able to do the work that can continue, right? And get their buy-in and get them excited about this work. Because it is very exciting. It's very challenging. It's very hard. But it's something I'm really, really passionate about. So to kind of get back to what you were asking me earlier, I feel really, really blessed and lucky to have multiple really exciting stories of people that I've worked with, right? So individuals who were refugees who were resettled. I have two in particular that I'm thinking of, and what I told you, I'd actually talked to him yesterday. He'd reached out to me, so we worked together in East Africa. He's a younger guy, and so I had gotten a phone call the last time I was living in Tucson. So that was a year ago. I had gotten a phone call on Facebook Messenger, and it was the guy that was the staff who worked with me, and he asked where I was, and then he told me that he did get resettled to the U.S., which is really exciting because the rate of refugees that are being resettled to the U.S. has gone down substantially within the past 5 years. So he's resettled. He's living in the U.S. now. He's enrolled in college. He's working. He's really, really excited about his path and what he's doing now. And then I had another staff. I haven't been in touch with him recently, but he worked with me, and he was resettled to Canada, and he's now in school to be a social worker. He's working, and again, very happy as well. So I know those are some very happy stories.
Mm-hmm.
Things aren't always as easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really nice when you're able to hear those stories from people and to have someone reach out to you and tell you that they're really excited about what they're doing. And now they're going to be working, similarly in the field of mental health.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So I guess a big question I would ask is, because this is like, could be a 3-day conversation about what's going on in the world with this.
Yes.
Place.
Feels like it could just be your entire show, really, just an entire podcast, and webinar about refugees and all of that.
Yeah.
In fact, I listen to podcasts all the time about different sectors within within the work that we do. So yeah, it could take a while.
Is there one thing we could take away, or you feel like we should take away from this, that we should know about what's going on?
Like that's a lot. That's a lot to like trickle it down right into one thing. I think just the whole idea about refugees, right, and what that means, and who these people are. It's really important to recognize that these people. I'm sure that maybe some of them chose to leave, but that's not the resounding amount of people that have done that. Most people, you wouldn't want to leave your home, right? You wouldn't want to leave that foundation. You wouldn't want to be uprooted, your family, your job, your culture, all of that. But these people have done that to seek safety for themselves, and so it's really important to recognize that, and also the level of resilience. I just remember when we would lead groups with CBT, the sense of hope at the end of the 10-week cycle of the group therapy that we would have, the sense of hope, the sense of resilience, the connection that people would be able to start building. It's a hard path and it's a lot of work, but it is really exciting. And so just, especially given the context of what we're dealing with right now and globally with COVID, there's a lot of people that are very unsure and very uncertain, and the unemployment rate has gone up. There's so many different things, but if we're able to step back and look at the bigger picture, I think it's really important to recognize the level of resilience that we all can have, even given really complex situations.
Yeah, we all have it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to hear. So what's next for you, Julie?
What's next for me? So now that I'm with the head office with Norwegian Church Aid, which again, very exciting. They're doing some amazing work, and everyone in home office is wonderful. We're actually, I think I talked to you about this yesterday. I'm working with a team of consultants who are developing a self-care and staff care package for my program, because so my job title now is GBVIE advisor with a specialization in MHPSS. In normal English, that means gender-based violence and emergencies advisor with a specialization in MHPSS. So we're developing self-care and staff care package to be able to be rolled out within the gender-based violence programming globally for NCA. And then they had even gotten really excited about it and talked about being able to roll it out, even not specifically in the gender-based violence program, but throughout the WASH programming, peace building, sexual and reproductive health, these kinds of things as well. So that's exciting. Next move though, most likely to Oslo, and then when things open back up for travel, I'll be able to go out into our field programs and meet the teams in person and do some more work on the ground. So it's exciting.
It's very exciting. Well, thank you so much, Julie. True advocate for the refugee population. I'm really happy to talk to you, especially so close to World Refugee Day. I think it's very important that it's a discussion to be continued, not to be forgotten. Certainly, it was very eye-opening and educational for me, so I appreciate it, and so I hope others keep talking about it too and learning about it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm really glad to have been able to be here. I by no means am the voice for refugees, but it was nice to be able to sit down and talk with you about it. And yeah, I think people should continue asking questions, being curious, and really being open about this topic. Yeah.
Thank you again. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Hope TV, and we'll see you next time.